What's up guys, my name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and welcome back to the channel. A little while ago I released a video called Shadow Arena Battle Royale, is it worth playing, and it had some good praise and feedback on it. It was basically just my insight and first impressions of the beta of Shadow Arena. Well, recently I saw a promotion offering content creators who wanted to play the game a few free skins and items to get started, which made me think and remember that I could actually update my review on the game since it has actually come out of beta now and fully released on Steam, meaning that there's potentially a lot of changes in the game since I actually last played it, and I've been interested in waiting till it actually got released. So it was a perfect opportunity to make this video. So with this, in this video I'm going to touch over Shadow Arena and the majority of its features and outline the differences in changes and additions since the beta and what's new or what has been noticeably removed. Since my original video was on the beta a few months ago, it's only fair to update my experience on the full release. Without further ado, let's get into the video. For those who haven't watched my last video or have not heard of Shadow Arena, it's an MMO action battle royale game which is based around the fantasy genre. It's a really unique title which blends a lot of the features which we see in MMORPG games and puts them into an arena MOBA type experience with a battle royale theme all blended into one. It has an advanced style of action and fighting, which is a system made popular by a lot of Korean and Asian MMORPG titles. This game is standalone now, however it actually started its humble beginnings as a mode inside the MMO game Black Desert Online, which is developed by the same studio, Pearl Abyss. But Black Desert Battle Royale is now Shadow Arena and it's a pretty good game. You can choose from a range of different heroes and classes in this game. Although on the beta you could play and test them all, you will have to spend in-game points or real currency now in a style like League of Legends via the in-game store to acquire more heroes. I received a few bonus heroes for making this video, however you only start with only 2 or 3 to begin with. There's a lot of different ranged and melee classes in this game, so I'll be covering a few of the ones I had available to give you an overview of the different playstyles and hero classes in the game. The keybinds for all of the special moves are shown on the right hand side of the screen, which makes it a whole lot easier to get used to everything. You can actually test out all of your skills in the lobby mode before the game starts. Originally you could attack any bot that was standing still, although now you can actually duel a bot who will fight back, and this lets you test everything before the match begins. It also allows you to instantly respawn in these duels and keep fighting the same opponent. For someone who hasn't played too many of these Asian MMO games, I'm happy that there are only 4 basic skills along with a few extra keybinds, meaning it's not too complex. And you can easily use potions with other binds, or get out of fights with a blink ability which each class has available. To level up your skills you can use the control key along with the matching corresponding number for the skill you wish to unlock or level up as you gain more skill points from playing and defeating enemies. You can also press the K key to basically do the same thing, but also look at your spells and what they do on a little menu pop-up. When you defeat enemies they will drop loot. The great thing about this game is how simplistic the looting system is. It will show you on the right side when you loot an enemy's body with the R key, the loot that you acquire, and you simply just press G to equip it if it says it's better than your current piece. Another cool unique thing is that if you pick up multiple pieces of gear, you can have the option to combine some of them via multiple pieces to upgrade into a better piece. This gear system is simple for the fast-paced battle royale experience where you don't have as much time as an RPG to look at your loot or inventory, so it's a nice little system that lets you combine and upgrade pieces. In my original video I talked about how bad the stun locking was. When an enemy gets close to you and spams all their abilities and knocks you to the ground or locks you in place where you can't get out. I will be clear that this is still a problem, however it's nowhere near as bad as it was in the beta, so I'm guessing Pearl Abyss addressed this problem slightly. You can still be stun locked and it can be irritating, but I found myself not being knocked to the ground or locked in place nearly as much as I used to, so this is a positive. I would say that stun locking is far more of an issue now with ranged characters, whereas melee heroes won't have as much of a problem. The graphics on this game are really great. Of course you will have to pick between a select list of heroes, so you can't customize or create a character like Black Desert Online does with their awesome character creator, but everything still looks great and it feels the same for players at Black Desert. The interface is very simple too and clean, so it's pretty easy to understand and see what everything does on your screen. I would say the balancing has been improved since last time too. Sure, it's still not perfect, but a lot of the heroes have been modified or changed noticeably to make them feel more fair. Most of the extremely high impact melee heroes have been made slower to attack to balance it, and some of those with the aggressive kits have been nerfed in their damage output, and the range classes that kite can be trapped or stunned or just taken by close range to be dealt with, so everything is mostly fair and things seem a little bit more balanced than they used to be. So now I want to show some gameplay of each class that I played and run over it slightly and talk about the positives and negatives and why they're good or bad to play. Now I played a total of 4 different heroes in the game in order to give a non-biased opinion on who I thought were the best and had the best or worst kits. This is important since in my first review I only trialed out one hero, so it was harder for viewers to gain an insight into the many different heroes. So firstly, I'll be playing the same hero I played in the first review video I made a few months back. This is the character Aeon Kyrus, which is a female hero who's pretty fun to play, which is why I played her again first. She has a really nice mix of different abilities which are both ranged and melee, and she's mostly a really strong hero to play. She doesn't have much of a problem getting close range or even backing off and shooting range spells to burn down the enemies. The thing that I really liked about this hero is just how easy it is to get in or out of combat with her, and coupled with a blink ability all heroes get, it's really nice to throw out your combo and just get out of the fight. She has the Phantom Raven ability where she can teleport to dodge and evade incoming attacks and then dash forward and hit and knock down enemies. This is super strong versus tough mobs or players too. Then she has the Dark Mark, which throws a blast of Black Force energy at the enemies, which causes damage but also reduces their damage points by 20% for 6 seconds, which is pretty huge, and this can also be stacked if you hit them one after the other. Her Resonating Shadow ability shoots a chain which causes damage over a period of a few seconds and stuns them after 2 seconds of being hit directly. She also has the Shadow Explosion that erupts shadows on the ground as an area of effect ability. Her final spell, which is like an ultimate, is the Sun of Destruction, which forms a huge black ball of energy and launches it at the player, knocking them and doing a ton of damage based upon its level. Next up is Goan. I had a really awesome skin for this guy where he's in a gold God King set of armor, so he looked pretty awesome when I was playing him. This guy is pretty balanced in my eyes, and it suits those who just want to play a really strong melee combat hero or warrior. He has a super strong damage output on his abilities, and he's just your typical slash and thrash melee character. But his damage is balanced by just making him slower to use his sword and abilities, and his movement is much slower and slightly more clunky in terms of looting after you hit enemies. These slow attacks do make him slightly vulnerable, but he's a pretty tough opponent. His Gatekeeper ability will let you perform a spinning slash by holding the right mouse button, which uses your own health to do more damage, granting you more armor during the sequence. When you use most of the abilities, they mostly give you increased armor whilst in effect. Then the Iron Pulverizer is a forward dash that lets you perform a second attack and a thrust at the enemy. His Corpse Cut spell lets him jump high in the air and strike down at the ground, giving him armor and height over his enemy's attack. Then there's the Gravedigger ability, which floats the enemy up in midair and smashes them down to the ground with immense damage. His last spell is the Blood Flurry, which gives a storm rushing strike at the enemy, decreasing their movement speed and using stamina to perform it. So thirdly is Gerards Schultz, which is another character which I played, who's a brute of a character, kind of like a barbarian king. This guy's super tough, so his damage is a lot lower than the other heroes at the beginning of the game, probably to make up for how powerful his kit really is, because he's just extremely strong, and I'm sure he'd just be way too overpowered if he did more damage. He can ignore all crowd control, aka the CC effects, for nearly 4 seconds using his Unleashed Beast ability, but he will not block damage during this period. Then he has the Gatekeeper ability, where he dashes forwards through all enemies in the skill's radius to blow them over, making him pretty unstoppable. His Rock Smash spell lifts enemies over his head and throws them to the ground in Bane style, making them pretty useless when in your grasp. This is perhaps one of his most overpowered abilities. Using the Sauson's Tremble effect, he can jump high in the air and dive slam the ground around him with his 2 axes up to 3 times to cause AoE damage. His final ability, the Bestial Howl, shakes air around him with a beast power roar which stuns all enemies nearby. This character has the strongest kit out of basically all of them that I played, so he was one of the most fun to play, but he was a little bit slow. So finally, the last hero which I played during my testing was Orwen, who is a ranged archer who also carries daggers for melee combat. She's basically a mix between both ranged and melee combat styles. She is strong when played right because she can easily get distance and range over opponents. I did this by using the blink to teleport and then rolling around to dodge attacks. She can use a combination of melee auto attacks with her knife by default or via the ranged arrows, making her pretty deadly if she can gap close from her attackers. But because she's so powerful, she is balanced by making her so easy to stun lock, which makes her just completely useless. If you get close range with your daggers, or if an enemy catches up to you, they can grab you or stun you and you just basically can't do anything at close range, so it's pretty important to keep range with this character. Like I said before with some of the other heroes, this is just a way just to not make her too overpowered, because if she has that range and she can't be touched, then she would just be broken. The natural marksman ability lets her fire an arrow from afar to deal damage, and after using one of her other abilities, twin fairy arrows, she can deal more damage too. Then there's the thunderbolt arrow, which is a lightning arrow that does more damage based upon its charge and how long you charge it up. The arrow storm shoots a series of arrows overhead and then does a backflip to dodge any incoming attacks. Now the twin fairy arrows, which I mentioned before, is an ability which increases the damage of the natural marksman ability previously mentioned by borrowing the power of the twin fairies. Her final ability, which is the explosive trap, is slightly more harder to hit. I didn't actually realise what this was at the time of using it, so I didn't actually manage to hit any enemies with it, but it basically drops down a trap that erupts on impact if people walk over it, which blows them back and makes them take fire damage. All in all, I think Shadow Arena is a strong free-to-play title out there right now that anyone who loves MMORPG games or MMO arena fighters should check out. This appeals most to those of you who love those Asian-style MMO or combat titles. I don't usually play these types of games since they're a little bit different to Western MMOs, but I had a blast both recently and months ago when I made the first video playing this game. I feel like Shadow Arena is in a good place right now, and they've definitely taken some beta feedback and improved the game vastly since then. Although it's not a game I would probably play all day or for many hours, it's definitely a super fun game to play when you're bored or in the background, and it's super fun because of how unique it is. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like the video and subscribe with notifications turned on by clicking the bell if you enjoyed it so you don't miss out on future daily gaming videos, and I'll see you next time.